everybody, Elizabeth Merrick here again, and today I'm going to show you how I use my face molds that I developed myself to make fast and easy toppers. And I could spend an hour just working and fudging with these little topper faces, and because I make so many of them, I have started making my own molds of faces that I use a lot, and so to kind of speed up the process. So there is a certain way that you actually use these molds for success, and it's kind of a combination of doing it by hand and using this mold. So I'm going to try and also answer a couple of questions that people ask me a lot about making toppers, and one of them is, how much Tylose do I add to my fondant? So we of course start off with our LMF fondant, which is a recipe I developed, and it's down there in the description, the link. And then I add Tylose powder to my fondant when I make my toppers. Now people say, can I use modeling chocolate or gum paste? And I say yes, you can, but this is just how I do it, and this is what I find easiest. One of the reasons is because my hands are very warm, and so when I hold the fondant it doesn't melt like it would modeling chocolate. Another thing is that I can get definition and stuff with fondant, but it's fairly smooth. Modeling chocolate tends to leave little marks in it that I don't necessarily want, and the gum paste I don't really like. I feel like it dries too fast, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. So I add about a teaspoon of Tylose powder to about a cup of fondant. I like to add it about an hour before I use it, just to kind of give it some stiffness when it's fresh. And then I add more as I need it. And you know it's ready by when you can stick it to the table, make a long skinny thing like this, and it stays up. This is kind of wilting a little bit, but you get the point. Like, this is supporting itself. So this is ready to use. It's firm, but still pliable. I also keep my fondant from cracking by keeping a little bit of shortening on hand. It works the same as with gum paste. This is like a lotion for the surface of your fondant so that it doesn't dry out and crack. So we're going to take our mold, and this is a custom size that I feel like is about the right size for making cake toppers. So it's smaller than a Barbie head. It's probably about an inch tall, and is what I use for, it's like a generic size that I use for all my sitting toppers. So I take a small amount of my fondant, and I'm going to press that into this mold, and I'm going to press my thumb, or my forefinger I should say, down into here, and that's going to get all the fondant down into those little crevices of her eyes and her lips and all those details. And then I'm going to add some extra fondant. It's basically going to make up the rest of my little person's head here. And I'm not going to really worry about seams and things because this is going to be covered by hair. Alright, so theoretically I can just pull this out just like so. It's going to distort the back a little bit, which is fine, but I have my finished little face here basically. I just need to smooth it out and add some details, and I kind of use this back part as something to hold on to. But I would have spent like an hour like shaping all of this out and getting it perfect like I have in other videos, but this really just saves me some time. From this point, I'm going to take my small ball tool. I'm going to press in and up to create the eyelids and the space for where her eyelashes and everything's going to go. I'm just making sure that it's pretty much the same on both sides. So take a little bit of my white. Very, very small amount. Press that in one. Press that into the other. I'm going to use my ball tool to smooth that out. Okay, that one is slightly open, more open than the other. My favorite tool here to mess around with that a little bit. You get these tools at Michael's, but you can also buy them on Amazon. They're my favorite. The link is also down in the description. And then I'm going to add my pupil, just a teeny bit of blue. Or whatever color. When you add your pupils, A, make sure they're very small, and B, make sure the tops of the circles are touching the top of your eye. I've had some students say that their face always looks really surprised and they don't know why, and it's just because your pupil is not touching the top of your eye. So when a person looks surprised, their eyes are wide and the pupil doesn't touch the eyelid. So as long as it's touching the top, then your face won't look surprised. This is a part that's always difficult for certain people because it takes a little bit of finger dexterity. So you might have to practice this a few times and to push yourself to make it small enough. We're going to make the eyelashes and the eyebrows. And we're going to start with a very teeny tiny dot. Very, very thin, you can see it. You're going to roll it out onto the table. About as thin as you can possibly make it. You probably can't even really see that. I'm going to cut off one tiny little piece, just like that. Wait, I almost forgot. Before I put that on there, the little black spot in the center of our blue. The exact same way as we did the blue, just, you know, put it in the center. Just a teeny little bit. You could also, you know, use food coloring for this part. Come on, get in there. I just prefer to use fondant. Okay. So now, add in our little eyelash. Got one. Other one on roughly the same way, which is always a little tricky. I don't really think you need any water for this part. I feel like all of this kind of sticks together from the warmth of your hand, so don't worry about water. You see how the black spot is touching the eyelashes? So the face looks relaxed and they don't look scared or surprised. So that was very fast. It saves me a lot of time. I actually use my own molds. I mean, I sell them, but I also use them for myself. And I actually sell them on my Etsy, so if you wanted to buy one, I have like a little kid one, an adult guy, the female, and then I have like a princess mold, and she has just like bigger eyes and teeny tiny lips, and that's just for making kind of like those generic princesses from movies that shall not be named. Next I'm going to kind of like give some definition to her lips, and just kind of making them a little bit fuller. It's very easy to kind of change the shapes of everything, even though you use the mold. We're still not stuck with this. Like, if I wanted to make her smiling, I would just stick my tool in here and lift up her mouth and put some white in there. Just a little bit. I didn't have to do that. I could have left her mouth closed. But it's very easy to sort of just adjust things and make, use my pointy tool to kind of give her cheeks some smiling. See, now she looks like she's a little smiley. This is basically a kind of a starting point for everything. I'm going to give her some eyebrows. Do that the same way we do with the eyelashes. We do this with brown or blonde or whatever. That's not sticking. Probably because it's just kind of sitting out. Once your fondant kind of sits out in the air a little bit, kind of loses its stickiness. I put a little bit of shortening on there just to make it sticky again. There's our eyebrow there. Come into life. Her nose is a little flat, so I'm gonna just kind of push out her nose by defining defining the nostrils. Pushes out the tip of her nose. She has a nose. At this point, this is when I would put her onto the body. So look in my other tutorials under the tutorial section, I guess. I have a standing topper, sitting topper, body tutorials, and it's at this point that I would usually let this dry for a little bit, just so it's kind of firm, and then I would put it on top of one of the bodies so that I could let it then dry and then do the hair and stuff. But I'm just going to show you, just for the sake of showing you, a couple of other things that I do. Stick. I always finish my eyes with a little bit of white highlight in the dots, in the black dot, and that just gives her some life. Just in the upper right. Gives your figures a little bit of makes them look a little bit more alive. And then I have been using these Dusts by Ruth Ricky, and these are her colors. She has a bunch of face colors, but these are the ones I use a lot. One is pink cheeks and one is cherry lips, and they're just like the perfect shade for adding, you guessed it, pink cheeks and cherry little bit of, oh, I'll put the link to her website down in the description as well. And just brush it on, very easy. So she's got some lips now, and just a little bit of pink on her cheeks. This would actually be great for like shadow or something too if you wanted to do that. You can also get these wet. If I wanted to paint with these dusts, you can get them a little bit wet. And that kind of gives you a little bit more control. There you have it. Our face is pretty much finished, ready to go on a body, get some hair, but that's how you use my molds to make faces. Fast, easy, definitely worth a couple bucks. Saves you a lot of time. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Leave a link, or not a link, gosh, where's my brain? Leave a comment down in the comment section if you have a question, and I will try and answer you as soon as I can and clear up any problems you might be having with your toppers. I'm Elizabeth Merrick. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.